Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Sometimes Reverb goes rogue and stops working. Let's talk about that on this great night to hunt Gibson guitars on Reverb.com. So most of my general hunting throughout the day, every single day of my life, comes from my feed. I click on my feed up here and it instantly shows me all the guitars that I've added. And essentially what I have saved in this is just Gibson. Anything labeled Gibson shows up here. So that's why I know about just every guitar that gets listed throughout the day, every day. But I also have a few other things like baritone guitars and maybe some other guitars that I'm looking for. But sometimes I notice there is a delay in our feed. Now our first listings here are the sponsored ones called the Reverb Bump program. But let's click on this one right here, the very first one. This is supposed to be the most up-to-date listing, and here it is. That's 2 days old. Let's check our next one right here, which I think I want to look at anyways, but that's a day old. This is when Reverb goes rogue. So what's happened here is there's a delay in the feed. So in order to get around this, you just have to search it directly. And this is what I call the Wild West hours, because you can sometimes snipe some really good deals because people aren't seeing these in their feed yet. So let's go Gibson hunting on Reverb. First up here, ooh, classic rock. I really want one of these, but unfortunately there isn't a big demand for these guitars simply because they're a 2015 and they have the weird 2015 specs. Not saying that there's anything wrong with them. Or at least, that's what I thought. That one it looks like a regular nut width. Huh, maybe there was a different run that I wasn't aware of. But the Classic Rock series is a beautiful play on words. Because classic rock guitar, and they put like granite countertop things on these things. So you can find this blue one. There's also kind of a grayish looking one. They're kind of gimmicky, but I think it would make for a fun review and demo one day. But I'm really only willing to pay $1,000 for one of these because realistically, I think the highest I could sell that for, as a dealer, is about $1,400, despite them listing retail new about $2,500. So it looks like these blue ones are actually a different run that got regular specs. That's cool, I learned something new today. Well, I guess I'm not going to that website. I'm definitely going to have to get one of these turquoise marble ones now instead of the other one. I can definitely see the blue ones being more collectible because of that reason. But at $1,800 plus $100 shipping, probably worth it to an end user if you can haggle them down a little bit, but I won't waste that guy's time. So not quite a deal here, but what else might we find? Ooh, that's interesting. I like it when Gibson does the natural headstocks. It reminds me of an Antique Natural Spotlight Special, and they just don't use it on electric guitars very often. This particular one's kind of a fancy acoustic. It's got a nice rosette there. It's got a mustachioed bridge, kind of a strange looking pickguard, but a cool headstock. Ooh, nice, nice, nice. Okay, so Les Paul Studios were first introduced in 1983. I don't really like that Reverb started to do this. Like when somebody goes to list something, they'll click on the sell button and then they'll type in Gibson Les Paul Studio, and then they have these age ranges. So people just click that and they sell one like that, and then it gives it a title that looks like this. That upsets me because I want to know what year it is, because a 1983 or a 1984 or even an early 1985 studio is going to have an alder body instead of mahogany. So I really don't think that one should be grouped together. So let's find out what this one is. It does not say it at all, but he says he got it from a soldier in Germany. Well, luckily they at least have our serial number here, so it's a 1987. So it should really just be listed as a 1987 Gibson Les Paul Studio. Looks like we have changed tuners, but it's with kind of error-correct Schaller branded ones. I wouldn't let that scare you away from this, but being an 87, it will not have Tim Shaw PAFs. It could, but it's like right on that edge where Tim Shaws don't exist anymore. So this one, not a bad price. $22,000 shipping. That has to be a typo. Oh man. But something I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to put links to the descriptions on things that I find are a good deal, so you can just go to the description and click them. Because honestly, if you can talk him down to $900, that's a good deal. I mean, sure, you could get the modern day one, but these guys actually usually have ebony fretboards. Sometimes. Moving on here. Whoa! We got twins! What? Oh, I see what he's done. So he has two listings. One of them's local pickup only, and he has it listed at a slightly lesser price. But he's using a different photo? That's interesting. But it goes to show you that he might be willing to accept that $900 offer. Maybe not. Man, there's just all kinds of cool lower end Les Pauls tonight. So Les Paul Gothic. I have not done a review on one of these, but I definitely plan to. Basically what makes this thing interesting is you get the star and moon inlay right here. You get the outlined Gibson logo. It looks like that fretboard needs cleaned a little bit. Kind of reminds me of the Sully Erna Les Paul. And it looks like we've got some rusting going on with that pole piece, so I'm wondering if that's been replaced. Oh, and the ever-famous picture of Orville Gibson back here. This one doesn't seem to be in too bad of shape. Comes with a case, that's a good sign. Ooh. So what's happened here is the fretboard has expanded and contracted. And sometimes that causes the lacquer around the edge of the fretboard to chip, or something just chipped that in general. I wouldn't let that scare you away from it, but that is the reason why it's cheap. The thing that makes it hard to make an offer on this is $100 shipping. While yes, sometimes it can cost that much with insurance costs, I don't recommend ever listing it higher than $65, because after $65, people get defensive about the shipping cost. They're like, If it's going to cost more than that, it's just built within the price, and you guys should do it that way too. That's your pro tip of the episode. So I'd probably be willing to pay $600 for this, but since it's $100 shipping, when you go to make a $500 offer on it, it just makes it seem like you're a super low baller and people leave you comments about it. Looks like past sales, they've been about $900. Looks like a high of 11. This is the part where I have to decide. Is that finished chip going to scare someone away so much? Because I can see that the fretboard is slightly expanding too, so that will sometimes cause a ridge, and that's what causes that part to chip. And guitars like that are usually kind of uncomfortable to play, so I think I'm going to let this one pass, but that could be a good deal for somebody who doesn't mind kind of sanding that smooth. But they're not always bad, it's just not something I want to deal with right now. But I'll go ahead and put that one in the description too. Another one we are looking at is a Gibson Melody Maker. Okay, so that's a true melody maker that originally came with a single coil and somebody's put a Seymour Duncan in it. That would probably be a pretty okay guitar because they've upgraded the tuners as well. That's a nice dark fretboard. But for me, if you're going to get one of these things, you got to get the Sunburst one because it's very vintage. Somebody's definitely played that thing. I've got to say, I like the black tuners. It kind of matches the all blacked out vibe of this thing. I wouldn't say it's a deal. I wouldn't say it's a steal either, but I doubt that'll last more than a week. We got one of those new special tributes. I think I will pick one of those up. I have not pre-ordered one or purchased one yet because they're not in stock at Musician's Friend. You can't even pre-order them there yet. Ooh, a Studio Premium Plus on an attractive price. $10.50. Somebody put a Bigsby on it. Tell me it's a Vibramate. That looks like a Vibramate to me, so maybe I'm not upset. I guess it's technically pronounced Vibramate, but I've always said Vibramate. It just seems to make more sense to me. So these are Les Paul Studios that have beautiful flame tops. I have reviewed one. You can check that review out right here. These things can sell for as much as about $1,500. Yes, this is one of the few models that Gibson did use a cream backplate on. Not all of them have that though. The only thing that's scaring me about this listing is it is listed as fair condition, but there's only 4 photos. That makes it look like it's in pretty good shape. So what is hiding? Is it in the description? Upgraded with locking tuners and rolling bridge. That's great. Yep. We got the Bigsby on the Vibramate. Pickups are DiMarzio 36th anniversary. Not a big deal. Hard shell case. Mixed match hardware. See, this is what scares me. Finish has light checking and some real relicking from gig wear, but nothing embarrassing. Well, realistically, I would want to get that and probably sell it for about $12.50 as a dealer. So it's almost within resale territory, but we will definitely put that one in the description as well if he does not accept my offer. See, told ya, this is deal hour when the reverb feed stops working. Continuing on here. Jeez. This is just low-end Gibson deal zone right here. Les Paul Studio Robot 2008. So the Studio Robots had the electronic tuners that you use this knob and it sets it kind of like the Firebird X. They are not popular on the used market. I had a green one that was unroboticized and it took forever to sell. Thank you CME for buying that rock from me. I think they sat on it for another year and a half, but they eventually got out of it. They had the locking Neutrik jack. These things, I get them if you are a gigging musician, but a bedroom guy, these things are just annoying. They make it so your lead can't come out unless you press this in, but it's kind of hard to do all with one hand. Don't let this finish check scare you away. That happens on nearly every single Gibson. That really is a good deal. Usually these things get listed around $1,000 to $1,200, but I don't like robot guitars like that. I'll leave that for someone else though. Yeah. Okay, so the Studio Swirls are really cool guitars. This one listed 3 hours ago. These will sell for as much as about $1,250. That's like top dollar. You're going to be waiting a while, but people list them for way more than that sometimes too. But that $900 to $1,200 is fair game. I was trying to buy one of these a few days ago. Jeez! You see those frets? I desperately want to clean them. But that tells you this guitar was likely in an area with high humidity. That's kind of why the frets rust up like that. And it's got a giant chip right there, so it's no longer a collectible Studio. That looks like stand rash. Yep, because it's on both of the sides. Be careful what stands you use, people. That's why I keep them in the cases, even though I would love to have them all out to see them. But then they'd also get dusty. That's the other cool thing about these guys, is the headstock veneer also has the swirl job. I have reviewed a blue one of these. First year Les Paul Custom for $12,000. That sounds like a great deal to me. Those are like $20,000 at least. Ooh, and local to me, Toledo, Ohio. All right, something has to be wrong. Let's see what's wrong. Headstock crack has been glued. You know, I want to review one of these original Staple Customs so bad, I would not let that scare me away. And it says it didn't go deep at all. It just had a fret job. Ugh. I would like to try the original fretless Wonder frets just to see why people don't like them. Looks like replaced inlay, cigarette burns. Grooms appraised it for $15,000. That seems a little bit high. That was probably an insurance value. Let's take a look at this thing. So it's got some nice wear. You're missing the poker chip. Normally that wouldn't be a big deal on a regular guitar, but you know, vintage poker chips, they're worth quite a bit. Looks like you got your original speed knobs, ABR1 bridge. That's pretty worn. It looks like somebody's kind of damaged the finish right there, probably adjusting it, or maybe they've actually had some work done to it. Yep, that's a headstock crack. I'm not used to seeing so many of these 50s customs. That was definitely a whopper jawed install job, and that one's been bent, but original Kluson waffle backs, that's cool. You got a little bit of wear there, but beautiful finish checking. This is one of them short headstocked ones. They're not my favorite, but it's just kind of part of being what it is. Oh, I remember this one. I think this was on like My Les Paul forum. Yeah, doesn't look like I can find it. I used to frequent this forum quite a bit. This is where a lot of my starting knowledge came from, but anymore this place is just dead. I check it occasionally just for fun though. Darn, I can't find it. I know I've seen this one before. I think I might have actually found this one on Craigslist once. Maybe that was where it was. But you don't forget a 53 Les Paul Custom that has Hugo engraved into it. I remember now. I think this was originally for sale for like $8,000 or something. And it was only like 40 minutes from me, and somebody else had purchased it by the time I got to it. So knowing that, seeing $12,000 makes me upset. That was like a year or so ago, so this guy definitely enjoyed it for a while. So hey, if you're watching, want to bring it by, get a cool review and demo, I'll do it for free. Dave's Boutique. Yeah, it doesn't seem like this guy's in the business to buy, trade, and sell, so I guess I'll watch that one. Zakk Wylde Camo. That's a fairly decent price for one of those. Asking prices on Zakk Wylde Gibsons are just through the roof anymore because he doesn't ever work with Gibson. He has his own company now. And until I did the review of this guitar, I never understood why anybody would want this. But apparently it's a tribute to Dimebag Darrell, and honestly, it works really good in person. So ever since I actually got to own one of these, that's when I was like, yeah, that's a cool guitar. But, oh, I wondered why this looked funny. Not only does it have zebra pickups, but this is supposed to have EMGs. So that means somebody's swapped out the entire harness. Jeez. They even wore straight through the clear lacquer there. This is definitely a player, and I can attest to these. What? Is it like a butterfly or what is going on there? I can definitely see why this one's so cheap. Looks like he still has the original EMG pickups, but he has no explanation for what this is. Is it a sticker? Did he drill it on? Are those nail holes right there? You might want to add a little bit more clarification to your listing, but you know, I think somebody would probably still pay about $2,500 for that. Because I had one that had just a little bit of wear to it in comparison, and I was able to get $3,800 on that. So with the extreme wear, $3,000's about what this guy could expect, and honestly, he's right on the market. So for an end user, haggle him down a little bit, and I think you'll really enjoy that guitar, because somebody definitely has. That's not too bad of a price on a custom shop custom either, if you like the cherry red finish. Uh-oh, whenever you see this happens, that means something new is just listed, so let's go ahead and check that real quick. Anything good? Whoa, 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 whoa. RD Custom. Okay, it looks like it has a little bit of wear. Not too bad there. Owner's manual. Looks like we're missing a screw there. Okay, so this thing looks like it's missing some pieces. It's had different tuners on it, but it doesn't appear to be too badly beaten. I mean, factory second. 1977. Kalamazoo made. Is the neck twisted or something? Oh, it says the back of the body has some splitting. What did I buy from this guy? Oh, okay. This is the guy that I bought the SG that had its horn sawn off. That I still to this day regret parting it out. The whole idea was I sold it to somebody who promised that they were going to finish it and restore it in a really nice and tasteful manner. Sold it to him, never heard from the guy again. That just seems to be how all those little project guitars ended. But where's that splitting? I'm not seeing that. Is it this? Or is he talking about this? Because it's one thing if it's coming apart along a seam, because that does happen. You can just re-glue them. It just makes it look like it never happened. You might be missing a small line of finish. But if it's like cracking under the wood, maybe this was the one that was water damaged that I remembered seeing about I say 8 months ago. But back to page 3 here. Anything really interesting? Ooh, yes. I was looking at this one a little bit earlier. Designer Series Gibsons. They are hard to sell and nobody wants them except for a very few distinct patterns. If I remember correctly, there's like 34 different designs that they did. Most of them are just atrociously ugly, or they'll have the Kahlers, so nobody wants them. This one, not the worst of the series. Looks like we've got a couple of ziggity zaggities here that kind of make a triangle pyramid pattern. I'm all right with this one. I especially like it because it's a stop bar version. Looks like original Dirty Fingers pickups in there. Clean condition. That's something else that's hard to find on these things. Because the designer series, if it's an ugly one, they're usually less expensive than the ones that don't have designs on them. We've got Schaller strap locks. Looks like that tailpiece might be down a little bit too low. You might be collapsing the bridge there, but it's kind of hard to tell from that angle. And ooh, even it's got the Les Paul reissue style knobs. Those are my favorite knobs that have ever been made, the early 80s reissue style like that. And the other reason why the non-designed ones sell for a lot more is because James Hetfield, one of his famous Explorers, is built within this configuration and was white. So it looks like we do have some edge wear, so this isn't a mint condition collectible by any means, but as far as these guys go, it's looking pretty good. Looks like a little bit of stand rash, potentially a replaced nut, kind of hard to see. Kind of a shame they didn't continue the design onto the back, but at least they did the sides. So something like this, I could see it selling for about $2,000. How much do they have it listed? Oh, not the worst price if you really want one of those. But yeah, sometimes these can get crazily priced. Collectors want the clean ones, and they'll pay up to $2,500, unless you get one of the Union Jack ones. Then the price, woof, through the roof. But those were part of the designer series. Yeah, not too bad on that one. Nice deal on a tribute. This has just been a fun episode. I'm glad I decided to hunt for Gibsons tonight. Les Paul Classic 1996. Not the worst price we've ever seen. It's just a nice little plain top here. Kind of got a cool aged headstock to it. Love the double ring Clusons. And it seems to be in pretty okay shape. I want to see your serial number though. Okay. Honestly, if you could haggle them down to 14, that'd be a pretty good deal too. There's an SG Menace. Those are kind of cool guitars. I did a rocker knot on a Les Paul Menace. What I like about them is they have like these scratches in them. But you see what I'm talking about, guys? We have not even hit what is in my feed yet. That is just how much uncharted territory there was on Reverb tonight. And I'm not dissing Reverb for this. I've actually pointed it out to them a few times, but basically they just say, yeah, we're sorry. It'll get fixed. And they tell me it happens to me because I only have something so vague in there. It takes time for it to process. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Maybe this is only a phenomenon for me, but judging by these deals, I'd be willing to bet it might be site-wide. ES Artist. The thing with these guys are the pick guards are detrimental to the guitar. You see how it's cracking right here? It's because it's off-gassing and it's all trapped in there and it can destroy the finish of your guitar. So if you have one of those, please remove it and you'll be good to go. When it comes time to take photos, you can put it on though. But I don't think I've ever seen one that has this type of plain wood grain on it before. So yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. It destroys the finish. It discolors it. Sometimes it'll even take it completely off. But other than that, I would say this one's actually in pretty good shape. Decent flame maple neck. Not a factory second. Kalamazoo made. Very late 1979. There's a good up-close look at that shrinking pickguard. Oh, that's the other thing it'll do. It'll eat away the gold from your pickups. And there you can see it turn this green. So sometimes case queening your guitars can be detrimental to the health of your instrument. Oh, there you can see it. Even the frets weren't spared. Now that can be polished off. You should be good to go there. But there you can see the rust of that and that. I think you guys get the idea. And honestly, once again, pretty darn fair price. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of love for this model. I hate that these baritone Explorers are always just way too expensive. They might actually sell for this much. I'm really, really, really looking forward to the Lizzie Hale signature baritone Explorer. It's been posted by Gibson like a year or two ago on their Instagram, so it has to happen sometime, right? But that will be a beautiful day and a guitar that I heavily look forward to reviewing because baritone guitars, they're just cool. And I guess since I haven't owned one of these, I don't know if that's an oversized body as well. The Explorer is pretty big, and judging by the neck and how it looks slightly disproportionate to the body, it's probably not an oversized one. But that's a cool spec that we'll kind of dig into here in another day or so in a review and demo of the SG baritone. But these baritone Silverburst Explorers are extra special to me because they kind of remind me of a Thunder Horse as well. I'd like to pick one of those up for like 18 to 2,000 one day. Here's the V. Those are really cool guitars, but in my opinion, they're overpriced. You used to be able to buy these things between like 14 to 18, but now everybody wants 2,500 plus. They're kind of like Dean ripoffs, but I'll save talking about those until I finally get one. But I do believe, whoa, that is a good deal on one of the limited edition, the Pauls. They're nice guitars for more modern sounds. They have a little bit more bite to them as compared to the vintage ones. That's not a bad price on a custom either. Man, I am just flabbergasted at the prices I'm finding today. But it looks like we are just now hitting the ones that are in my feed. Remember this 2015 one right here. Well, maybe I just remember looking at it earlier, but here you can see the V, so we're definitely within the feed territory. But another nice feature about the feed is, remember, you did not see this guitar. And that's because sometimes they'll hide international listings. This is a great price for a very, very, very rare guitar. I actually tried to buy this one for 18 shipped, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But this is the color that I've been looking for. And if somebody doesn't buy it from here, and maybe if he can haggle down a little bit more. The only reason why I don't want to pay his asking price is because it has a ding on the neck. But who knows, I might break down and buy this thing because it's super cool. I love the finish. So I hope you guys enjoyed hunting for Gibsons on Reverb.com when the site was slightly broken. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care, and happy deal hunting. If you're new to Reverb, you can sign up using the link in my description. Doing that will also get you a $10 bonus on the site, and shopping through my links also supports the channel.